So for the first couple of years of Qualifi, I basically felt like I was fundraising for a year and a half, 2 years straight, nonstop.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of startups before, but I had never really.
This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
Wouldn't you like to be a guest on Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham? Well, the link is in the show notes.
And now, here's your host, Blair Durham.
Greetings.
I'm joined now by Darrian Mikell. He's the co-founder and CEO of Qualifi, a SaaS platform that powers the fastest phone interview experience in the world and helps recruiting teams hire great candidates 7 times faster. Qualifi's frictionless screening platform saves both recruiters and candidates time while maintaining a human touch. Typical phone interviews have been shown to add 6 to 8 days to an already long hiring process. Qualifi eliminates that, enabling recruiters to scale effectively and win talent with speed. Before Qualifi, Darrian served as the VP at Viral Launch, a data-driven market intelligence and optimization solutions for Amazon Marketplace retailers, driving e-commerce revenues growth and more efficient marketing spend. It is a mouthful. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the intro and appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. So Qualifi, love the branding.
Thank you.
And we just talked about what it is. So was there a need for this really? Like, I'm thinking about my experience both as an interviewer and an interviewee. I remember lots of these things. I found value and meaning in this time. But I hear you saying, no, we got to do this a bit faster. Like, talk to us about that particular pain point and how you kind of came to that conclusion.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously I'm biased, but I think that there's definitely a need for it. And we've been able to hear that from customers that have been finding a lot of value in what we provide. So it's been really, really gratifying lately. But it kind of stemmed from, you mentioned my experience at my last company, Viral Launch. We were growing really fast. And I was kind of this one-man internal ops team that was doing finance, doing all like the general admin, legal stuff, and then also HR and recruiting. And so it was just this combination of me being busy and then also always looking for ways to optimize and create better processes and better experiences. And the phone interview is something that most people overlook. And it was something that really kind of caught my eye in the way that it was taking up a lot of my time in terms of, me scheduling all these different 15 to, 30-minute phone calls. And, by definition, I'm not going to hire, every single person. So it's you learn from a lot of candidates, but it's wasteful in nature, ultimately. Yeah. And that was realistically on a small scale. We were, growing really fast, but still a pretty small company. And a lot of the customers that we serve are doing, hundreds of hires per month. And they still have a relatively small team. And so it can really add up and make their processes difficult to manage.
Yeah. So I want to have 2 conversations from that point, right? I want to talk more about Qualifi, the platform, but then I want to talk about your process as a Black founder, right? So one of the things I do in my role is I operate an accelerator, and, this innovation piece and then this access to capital piece are obviously 2 huge sort of challenges in the communities.
Yeah.
So I want to hear more about your building Qualifi. How exactly does it work without telling us the algorithm or without giving the software secret away? Like, how does it work?
Yeah. And you're referring to like kind of like how did we get started and how we got to at least to where we're at today in that regards, or like how does the actual technology work?
Technology, like how does it?
Oh yeah. No, I'm happy to like break that down. It's very like
let's just take this real example, right? I've got to hire 3 people between now and the end of January, right? And I know not that many people, and I know some of the people we work with are hiring it. So how would it work for me?
Yeah, 100%. I won't even get into the technical side because then I'll start to sound stupid because we have much smarter people than me building out the actual back end stuff. But
Okay.
In terms of how it all works, you as the person doing the recruiting, you log in, go into our software, and you'd be able to pre-record, questions using your own voice. So there's a simple recording feature. It lets you go in there, start and stop the recording. You can ask any type of question that you like. And generally, when we get you started, we help you navigate that, give you a little bit of education on best ways to format the interviews. But really, it's your choice in terms of how you want to lay out and structure your interviews. But once you record that, you can structure those interviews. And it creates this consistent experience that then you can then invite candidates to. And so for that, you can do it, one at a time. All you need is their first name, last name, email, and phone, and it'll shoot them an invite. And you can also do that in bulk. And we can also automate that through connecting to, your systems potentially. And candidates will receive the email or text message invitation from you, and it'll take them to an instruction page where they can read about the experience. It's branded to you as an employer, and then when they're ready, they hit start, and our system will call their phone. And so it's a little bit different than other interviewing platforms, in the fact that it does take place over a standard phone call. So it makes it really accessible and very familiar. It's just like kind of responding to voicemail, except it's a series of questions that they're responding to. And then obviously we capture those recordings and then yeah.
So they're going to get a call. It's going to be my voice. They're going to hear my excitement. I'm going to ask a question. Beep. They respond. Yeah. I capture that. So then at the end of the day, I just get these responses categorized by respondent.
The question. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And we're just kind of, at the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the things that we want to do in audio and phone, and with all the things that we're doing from a data perspective. Right now, we're really focused on just creating that experience that I just outlined and making it seamless and really fast. But yeah, when you get your responses, you're able to just simply see the question and click and listen to the response. You don't have to listen to yourself talk anymore. So it kind of eliminates most of, half of the conversation. And we also have transcription, so you can skim through. We do keyword matching as well. Really
listen really good responses.
Yeah. And you can also share with other people on your team too. Really easily.
So let me ask this question. And I'm certain you get this question a lot. So I know I was always taught to prepare a couple of questions for the interview. Mm-hmm. Right. So how then do they go about getting their questions answered if it's not going to really be a live format for them?
Yeah, no, for sure. That is something that like I mentioned, when we help people get started, one of the things that we help them outline is that we want it to be as conversational as possible, even though it's a one-way facing interview. And one of those ways that we do that is usually telling them for their last question that they ask, usually saying like, hey, this is, all the questions that I had, but would love to hear what you're curious about, what questions that you might have for us. Okay. They don't get those questions immediately answered on the spot. At least today they don't. Something that we are, interested in figuring out in the future. But right now, the way that works is the recruiter now has better context on that candidate, what they're curious about. So when they have the next live interview, they have that interview available to reference and be prepared for that conversation going in, or they could respond, at their own discretion directly to that candidate and either email or text message, calling them back, or, any number of communications. But that's the typical way right now.
Awesome. If you just tuned in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today. I am talking with Darrian Mikell. He's the co-founder and CEO of Qualifi. We're having a conversation about what that platform does. And now I'm going to pivot a bit because I want this to be meaningful for Black founders as well, right? And so first of all, did you find meaning in any kind of local incubator, accelerator programs? What has been your access to mentors and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we've gone through actually a number of accelerators, pre-accelerators, whatever you want to call them.
I know.
Yeah. So like all kind of like from the beginning, we went through G Beta, which is a generator program. Generator is an accelerator. They have different accelerators across the country, and they have these pre-accelerators that are supposed to kind of prepare you for kind of the basics, get you ready for taking on funding or whatever that they're really like early pre seed stage companies. And so we went through that. That's a 7-week program. I'm trying to think what else. We also, one of my investors, before she started her fund, which is a fund, I think it's maybe a year in. So it's a new fund. Before she started that, she had a mini accelerator called Be Nimble. Her name is Kelly Jones. So we went through the Be Nimble accelerator. And then earlier this year, we got accepted into Techstars. We went through the Techstars Anywhere program, and that really set the bar for me, in terms of accelerators in general, like the programming, the network. It was just really well run and really changed the trajectory of the company. And part of the program is to meet with, I believe, over 70 potential mentors in like a 2-week period of time during one stint of the program. And at least one of those mentors we still work with on almost a daily basis at this point. She's really involved in the company. And so that alone was, monumental, but there's been a lot of things that we learned throughout the program, other founders that we get to commiserate with and just learn from. And like I mentioned, just the broader network has been really huge. And then lastly, especially for Black founders, I mentioned Generator at the beginning. We went through the pre-accelerator, and then also recently we went through one of their actual accelerators, and it's a Black founder accelerator in partnership with Northwestern Mutual. And so that has been really cool to be a part of as well.
Excellent. Okay. So not only is it important to find these programs and go through them, but it may be important to go through more than one program. Love to say that. Okay. So really cool. So I want to ask you this with regard to kind of your capital raise. How is it going? Where are you with it? And what's the goal?
Yeah. So, just a little context. So for the first couple of years of Qualifi, I basically felt like I was fundraising for a year and a half, 2 years straight, nonstop.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of startups before, but I had never really fundraised or,
done that part of it.
I like talked with investors and stuff like that, but I never really actively fundraised. We were fortunately, most of my time at my last company were bootstrapped most of the time. And so we had the luxury of not really having to talk to investors. So it was kind of cool in that regards. But then, when I had to go out on my own and do this from scratch, it was tough. And I was very over optimistic. I thought I was like, oh yeah, I know investors, I'll be able to raise money in like a few months. And that was not the case. And it was, it tested me in a lot of ways. But fortunately I was able to string along some like small angel checks, enough to like continue the journey, continue the mission, and slowly rolled it. It seemed like when one check ran out, the next check came in right on time, and we were very fortunate in that way. Luckily, I was able to bring on my brother full time. He's my co-founder, but luckily he was able to come on full time, with me at one point. And then, like I mentioned earlier this year, we got accepted into Techstars, and then we also raised a pre-seed round on convertible notes. And so it was like our first true funding, and we were able to bring my other two co-founders on full time, and then start to build out the team like we are today. And then we have some other news on the fundraising front that I haven't announced yet, but I'll say that I've learned a lot about fundraising, and it's gone better in recent times. And so really, really excited about what we've been able to build. And I've told a lot of people that perseverance has been my word, because there's a lot of times during those early days where I feel like we could have and should have quit. But luckily we continued and found things that worked and found believers both on the customer side and investor side. And then especially during this year, we've learned a lot about a lot of parts of the business that have really helped us to grow and bring on those other investors as well.
I say this exciting. Qualifi.hr, that's QUALIFI.hr. And you can kind of see how it is that this incredible platform works. It answered my next question, which is this thing up and running? And it is. I mean, so your customer discovery process, what was that like? How did you kind of get this thing tested and prove that this needed to happen?
Yeah, it was the customer discovery in the early days was really tough because we're in a broad space. We are a recruitment software, and there's so many different lanes and so many different industry types, so many different company types, and down to each recruiter, how specific, how they operate specifically. And so it started off with me thinking, hey, this was my experience. I was at a tech company and a fast growing tech company. So let's go talk to my other tech company friends and see if this resonates. And they were really receptive to like trying things, but we learned that it wasn't the best fit for a lot of the folks that we reached out to initially. And when we were first getting going, it was really tough because we didn't have like a full fleshed out product. And that's not what I would advise people to do. We had less than an MVP, if an MVP, and it was something that's new that people hadn't done before. And so on all sides of it, there's different interactions that we had to care about. One, recruiters, how they would use it, candidates, how they would interact. Recruiters care about how candidates feel about the experience. And so we felt like we needed to continue to, along the way, just continue to build out the product and make it better and better. And the way that we did it was just kind of continuously like iterating on the product. We had a vision for what we wanted to create. And we just started small, and as feedback came in, we made adjustments and continued to make adjustments, and just learned along the way. I always had like a vision of, all right, like naming the different stages of our product. Like this is our beta product, and like this is our launch product. This is V1, and we never truly did that. It just kind of new features got pushed out over time, and users just got the benefits of all those improvements, and they were a big part of that. So yeah, we've made a lot of adjustments, and really now we're focused on a couple of key verticals, where before we were just talking to any and every recruiter and HR leader.
Makes sense. So you've had a narrowing that has come about.
Yeah, that was definitely probably the toughest piece, because we were just like, we didn't really know what our direction was, and any type of recruiter could have taken us down a totally different path. But where we were fortunate is we were able to land a couple of key customers really at the beginning of this year that kind of set the tone and the foundation for who we focus on now. And they had a lot of success that we were able to replicate and tell others about, build case studies off of them. And they were really active and willing to help us by, partnering, on the marketing front in some aspects. And so having other real recruiters say like, yes, this works, this is a success we've had, really helped us to be able to share with other people.
Mm-hmm. I had one final question for you. We're out of time, but I want to ask you this. Are you the technical founder or one of the technical founders?
No.
All right, so that opens up a whole different discussion. He's a non-technical founder of Qualifi, which is obviously a tech-enabled, tech innovation company. So exciting, right? Because I know tons of businesses that need a technical component, but because they can't think through it, they believe they can't attract someone who can. You know what I mean? What? Just walk me through even how you navigated that. How did you find the co-founder that was willing to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I got super, super lucky. What I would tell anybody is just use your strengths. Some people are good at sales, some people are good at design, some people are good at just telling stories. And so whatever you have, if you're just getting started with a concept or an idea, just maximize what you're good at. And for me, that was collaborating. I'm an ideas person and a collaborator. And so I think what I do well is cast a vision and see problems and find the solutions in those problems. But I can't take credit for really anything that's been built. I'll throw my opinions in there every once in a while, but really it's the team that's been able to execute on it. But in terms of finding the founders, like I said, I got lucky. Our first technical founder, I searched the technologies I knew that we needed on LinkedIn. And he was one of a few people in my local area that popped up. And he happens to be super talented, super experienced, been a part of startups and then large companies like Salesforce and New Relic. So he kind of knows both sides of the game there. And he was down for the cause and, was willing to be a co-founder, work for free, and help get this thing started. And then I mentioned my brother is one of my co-founders. He's not technical either, but he is kind of the connecting point to our fourth co-founder, who is a self-taught developer. They were previous co-founders of a different business, teammates in college, roommates as well. And so there's close ties there. And
one beside you or under you?
So Devin, my brother, and I, we're CEO, COO respectively. And then Keenan and Deshaun are VP of product and VP of engineering respectively. And we have to be the guiding force for, the whole team. And we work really collaboratively with each other and try not to make decisions in our own bubbles and really align ourselves with where we're all trying to head. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Man, and then there's so much more conversation we can have around collaboration. Good grief. I mean, this is...
It's fun and also challenging, especially the growing team. I'm learning along the way of how to get more people.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
It takes a level of self-awareness and humility and that sometimes you gotta find because maybe you didn't have it before.
Yeah,
but if you want to take the work, you gotta be willing to do that. So just congrats to you, kudos to you. I think there are gonna be some ways that we can collaborate. So
would love that. That.
Yeah. I'm excited. And again, it's Qualifi, QUALIFI.HR. You can get more information about this incredible product to speed up the process of growing your team. So thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
This show was brought to you by the consulting services of Positive Vibes Incorporated. We do credit fixes, we do debt restructuring, and we put money in the pockets of real estate investors. So give us a call. We can fix your credit. We can restructure your debt. And if you're a real estate investor, I would love to put thousands of dollars into your pockets. 757-932-0177. That's 757-932-0177.
Phenomenal. Stay with us online at Black Wall Street Today on Facebook and Black Wall Street Today on Instagram. And then follow us on Twitter as well at BWS Today. We look forward to talking again next week. Have a wonderful week. I have said and I will continue to say that the most important priority for the Black community is the Black community, not a particular political party.
Phenomenal. Hey, yo, when I say black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say black, you say Wall Street.